Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. We got a whole bunch of new Flash stuff. We got to talk about the key to defeating Savitar in a new character, and we got more teases for the finale. So we got data on the next couple of Flash episodes, and we learned about the future scientist that's going to be coming on and helping them. She sounds like she might even be a season 4 character because they're introducing her so late in the season. She's sort of like a new version of Tina McGee, but that's not who she is. So if you're new to the channel, there's a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway going on. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. So we'll start with the scientist, then I'll talk about the next couple of episodes because they have synopsis, so it talks a little bit about what's going on with Killer Frost, and we have this picture to talk about here. This crazy picture of Savitar's costume hanging up in chains. He might be in there, he might not be in there. So this almost looks like the post-apocalyptic version of Star Labs. So we'll start with the scientist because she's the key to defeating Savitar in a really interesting way, the more traditional way, and then we have the rest of Team Flash. So right now, if you didn't know who this is, she's Ann Dudick. She was on House. She's been on a bunch of other series. You may remember her from somewhere, but her character's name is Tracy Brand, and they're describing her as a smorgasbord of quirky idiosyncrasies. So she sounds like a new version of Tina McGee with parody for Harrison Wells, someone who's a crazy genius and super eccentric. So what it seems like is happening is because Killer Frost is taking off, like she's gone full-blown Killer Frost, so she's evil now. She's not technically working with the team, but they've already teased a little bit about her story arc that I'll explain in a second. She's not gone forever. It just, Killer Frost from the future newspaper says that she's still at large, so she's not hanging out in Star Labs the whole time. So it sounds like this new female scientist character is going to fill that whole day-to-day, and it sounds like most of her scenes are going to be happening during the present, because in the synopsis they released for episode 21, it says, Barry takes drastic measures to stop Savitar. Meanwhile, HR continues to push Tracy Brand to design the trap for Savitar, and Killer Frost returns with an interesting proposal. So that sort of jumps over episode 20 stuff because that's also Killer Frost centric. You get the vibe versus Killer Frost that Cisco vibed in the future way back during episode 6. So as we get closer to the finale, things are getting crazier and crazier, and they're changing less and less about what's happening in the future. Caitlin became Killer Frost, Cisco ended up fighting her, so it's almost like they're running towards the future that they're trying to avoid, which is a very tropey thing. Big trap in the future, you try to change time to avoid it. By the Reverse Flash's explanation, time will find a way to replace that terrible thing with something that's just as bad. So with Killer Frost taking off, the female scientist sort of fills that void that Caitlin would normally fill on Star Labs, but she's a biologist. This scientist is more of like a female version of Harrison Wells from Earth 2 in Tina McGee, with sort of a lighter energy to her. They call her super eccentric and quirky. I don't think that means she's going to be super fun and happy all the time, but it does make her sound like she's not going to be a super big asshole like Harrison Wells from Earth 2 is going to be. But she'll balance out HR because he's been super silly. And if there is any character that I want to see go away, it would be HR. Like, you start to like him more and more, but you can kind of see how too much of his character just kind of grates on you. You need somebody to balance that out. So the Tracy Brand character is not somebody from the comics. The name Brand sounds like Boston Brand, which is Dead Man, but I don't think that she has any connection to him. So the name is either fake, and it's like the Jay Garrick Hunter Zolomon twist, where you find out their real name later on, and she winds up being a big comic book character. There were a couple new characters introduced during the Flash Rebirth. There's a Mina character that's a Speed Force scientist that's working at Star Labs. So they're always introducing new characters from the comics. She could wind up being one of those people, but I'm not expecting it. The TV show introduces people like Harrison Wells. He's original to the TV show, even though it gives him a very comic booky origin story like Eobard Thawne in season 1, and then sort of taking it in a different direction season 2, season 3. So I like the actress. Hopefully she'll come back for season 4, because it sounds like unless they completely reverse everything, then Caitlin will continue to be a version of Killer Frost, even if she's able to work with the team. Because it says in episode 21, she has an interesting proposal for the team just 1 week after she's full-blown fighting vibe in episode 20. So it sounds like she's going to go crazy for a little while, but then she'll get it under control and she'll find a way to work with the team, even if she's never going to completely be our version of Caitlin again. And then they post pictures like this, like the people were like, okay, we're done filming The Flash. Thank you so much for a wonderful season. And you're like, wait a minute, this is a version of Harrison Wells. It could be HR, it could be Earth 2 Harrison Wells. and Caitlyn looking like Caitlyn. What does that mean? Clearly there's a funeral, so they're definitely messing with our heads. And they also posted this picture from the finale too, like the very final scene that they filmed. So they don't always film chronologically, but I know you're looking at this photo here and you're like, hey, wait a minute, who's in this photo? Who's missing? So you have Tom Cavanaugh with the crew, the people that actually film the episodes and work on them, and then you have Iris West standing here. So what it sounds like is if this is the very last moment of season 3, then it's going to be an Iris West Barry scene where she's thinking about him being gone. So it definitely lends credence to the idea that Barry's going to get stuck in the Speed Force to pay for his crimes, and then season 4 will start with the rest of Team Flash trying to find a way to bring him back. So that's just one option. The second option is that this is happening at some other point in the episode and they're just filming it out of order. But I do like the idea that Barry does have to pay for his crimes, so whoever ends up dying, in addition to that, Barry has to go away for a little while and do some time before he comes back. But don't worry, people freak out about Barry Allen leaving the Flash. Does that mean the Kid Flash is going to be the main version of the Flash? They might tease that very briefly in episode 1, but remember what happened during Flashpoint. The very first episode, like Barry should have lost his powers the way he lost them during comic book Flashpoint, but they didn't even take it that far. So you can see a situation whereby, Grant Gustin gets a lot of questions, say, hey, is Barry coming back? Is he going to be stuck in the Speed Force? And he has to pretend like he doesn't know what's going to happen. Maybe Barry won't come back. But everybody who's ever read a single comic book or watches TV at all and follows the plot knows that there is always going to be a Barry Allen on The Flash. So it's one of those funny situations whereby actors have to lie for the studio because they're under contract. Like, you can't give away spoilers, even though fans know 99% what's going to happen and who's coming back. But defeating Savitar. So you may have seen some pictures from the set that lend credence to the idea of Tracy Brand's character creating a trap for Savitar. That might be what this scene is from here, after they're able to trap him. But this is what the suit looks like just in the light of day with no CG or anything like that. I know it looks better when it's all glowy, but the interesting thing here is when they started to analyze pieces of the suit, they said that it was basically frictionless. It had technology that they didn't have access to, so it's almost like Savitar got it from the future. And who's traveling to the future? It's Barry. Now, I don't want to say that Barry is Savitar. I'm not jumping on that train right away, but there is a lot of evidence that's stacking against that. So there are a couple big Savitar theories right now. Let me know which one you like the most in the comments below. Just there are a couple things that we know are probably going to be happening at the end of the season. 1, somebody is going to end up dying, and 2, Barry is going to have to pay the price for his crimes temporarily until Team Flash gets him back. So what I'm going to do next is they aired a bunch of Black Panther footage. I'll do a breakdown of that. That should post in the next couple hours. So 3 videos today. While you wait for that, you can click here for my Rick and Morty VR episode 1. They recorded a whole bunch of new material. It's a lot of fun. And you can click here for that Arrow finale trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.